Good morning, everybody. Quasar Markets Live. How are you this morning? Look, it's round two. POTUS and Elon Musk going at it this morning. The Wall Street Journal just says that President Trump is looking to get rid of his Tesla. Look, I know there's going to be a nice little phone call this morning between the two of them. They're going to make up, but I think the damage is already done. Mommy and Daddy are still fighting. That affects the markets. Yesterday, you saw where Tesla fell. DJT, which is the True Social, the network, Newsmax, all of them fell yesterday. And thinking that look, when you see a spat in the public, it's going to be relayed into the markets, and that's what we mean by your charts don't mean anything. Yesterday, as you know, yesterday I bought Tesla on that slip drop, and I bought all day long. Today it looks like I'm going to do okay. What the point is that when you look at the markets and you say, okay, I'm going to invest, you have to have a reason to invest. You need to be able to tell yourself or me or anybody that's around you, and when you make that decision, I'm going to buy this, this, and this, tell yourself why. Give me the exact reason why you're doing it. Oh, because the chart shows this. Well, the chart doesn't show you that. The chart shows you where the price has been, and you can overlay all kinds of cool things on top of it. But the reason is I'm buying it because Trump tweets. Well, that's not really a reason either. You need to have what I call a thesis and make sure that thesis is sound. It's not I'm going to buy it because I like what they're doing, right? That's cool. But they need to have real numbers behind it. They need to have real umph, I should say, in a lot of ways. All right, let's get right to it. Silver, hi ho, 36.13, still pushing higher. Most of you know that I did call for 43. And you know, when we're looking at those assets, including Bitcoin 103.4 yesterday, and Howard's out this morning. Howard called, told you what he was worried about. 103.5. That was where he thought that the market was going to go to. It didn't, because it fell through. It went right through it and got right back up. Where are we at today? Right where Howard said we would go to, 103.5, and it's bounced off of that now 3 times now. Now that's when your charts really matter, is when the news is out and all of that stuff is done. That's when things matter. Look, I said it yesterday. The reason that a lot of the Trump stuff went down was not because the institutions were selling. It was 0 DTEs. It was gambling, the highest number in history on yesterday on Tesla stock. That's a problem, right? It overcorrected on both sides of that, and now they're correcting to the back of the other side. Silly. A lot of people lost money yesterday. Very, very few people made money yesterday. If I see braggarts on the line, they probably lost money elsewhere. Give me a break. You lost money yesterday, one way or the other. If you were shorting yesterday and you kept it, you are today absolutely crushed today. Probably screaming online about life in general. But gold 39, looks like 33.50 now. Cannot hold that 34 handle there, 3,400 handle there. Dollar, the Dixie 99.16, still pushing up there. Looks like we're going to get back over that 100 handle as the dollar is starting to creep it back up. Those numbers came out this morning on unemployment, and the markets liked it. Why? Because now the Fed has no reason not to do this. They need to start raising rates here a little bit. Lower rates a little bit. Once again, they're behind. Why am I saying they're behind? We're usually the leader in this. But the ECB took the lead on this. They started lowering rates, and they have done it again yesterday. Look, I get it. I understand that there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets with tariffs. I get it. There's a lot of uncertainty in the markets over jobs. I get it. There's a lot of uncertainty over geopolitical. But right now, it seems that every time the market slips, we're right back up. 104 back there on Bitcoin. We're continuing to push back up. Advanced decline this morning, 21.91. That's really good stuff this morning. I'm really liking this. I like where we're at. And if we push up a little bit more on the 10-year now, 4.472%, we could see another rally today going into the Friday. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be munching on some popcorn and some Cokes and trying to figure out what's going to happen in that meeting between the president. I already know that they're already, but when someone who says, hey, Grandpa dropped the real bomb on my partner. It's like mommy and daddy are fighting, and daddy says something bad, and mommy gets mad, and mommy says something bad. It doesn't matter. The cat's out of the bag. If you didn't know that Trump was in the Epstein files, you've been living under a rock, right? You've been trying to hide it. If you don't know what's going on in the world, you're literally hiding under a rock, or you don't have a smartphone, right? Because right now the world's pumping news to you so fast. What we wanted to do at Quasar Markets was get rid of all of that news and give you hard-hitting data, right? And making sure that you got the real information to you. And so we've done that. Now, if I push forward a little bit and I say, okay, what's next in the world? And to me, it's all about robotics. I think robotics is the key here. I think you've just heard this morning from Amazon talking about their humanoid robot. I saw at the Bitcoin conference 2 humanoids, one named Aria and out of Canada. Robotics is the future. Robotics as we know it, because maybe some people have been watching watching Netflix a little too much. Yeah, you probably got the wrong number, right? If you're watching, Amazon's or the Apple new movie Murderbot, right? It's not the case, right? It's not what's really happening, and I like that. And you talk about robots, talk about Tesla's new taxi that's coming out, right? They've got one too as well. So that's going to drive yourself around. I mean, will that affect Uber down the road? Will that, Waymo with Google? Those things are some things to really consider, because those are some really big factors here. So yeah, I really like this a lot. Okay, look at 104 still holding there on Bitcoin. Advanced decline still 21.88, so still pushing up a bit there. Looking at the VIX here, 51.64 BXX. I need to see that push down a little bit more, but we are seeing a pullback this morning on the VXX. Will Tesla get back above 300 handle? I think so. There's a lot of shorts out there. A lot of people that held those puts overnight. If they add to them today, I don't know. I don't think that's smart, because I think the downside was pushed. I think where the buyers were, you found it. But now we're at that point, right? So let's figure that out, where we are next. So okay, let's get to it again. If we look at the gold silver ratio, you heard that yesterday from a lot of people, including Jim Iorio yesterday from Chicago, talking about it. 92.87. The gold and silver ratio in the good old days, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, was right around 60. Today, that's right around 92.87. Over 100, that means gold to silver is way out of whack. And you see gold pulling back and silver pushing up. Why? Because silver is used in almost everything in metals. Silver is in your phones. Silver is in, so by the way, so is gold, by the way, in your phones. But it's not much. But in silver, you've got transmission of lines. You've got a lot of things that silver can do, conducting and jewelry too. So there's a lot of things that goes into silver, not just a precious metal to wear around your neck. All right, and looks like we're going to open here in about 20 minutes here on high here. We're still pushing up because of this, but yeah, see CNBC now talking about the feud between Trump and Elon Musk. Will that affect the stocks today? Probably, yeah. And I can understand that. NVO looks like Novo Nordisk there as well. It looks like they're pumping up a little bit more too this morning. They now have a link to a new drug that, believe it or not, is for rare eye conditions. If you heard from me about 2 weeks ago, I told you that there are a few companies that are working on eye conditions. And look at that. That stock is up now over 2% this morning. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, and it's still pushing higher. For those of you who know that I've been talking about it, Netflix, if you look at Netflix, I said it back several times back a few weeks ago that anything under 1,000 on Netflix is a buy. Where are we at now? 12.58 this morning, up another 0.5%. People, good times and bad times, they're watching movies, right? So that's still a winner there on my boat. And same thing situation with Disney. I said it again. Disney up again today. Anything under 100, it's now at 113.35, up 13% since I've been making this call. Probably a little more since I went under 100 not too long ago. One thing that I'm a little concerned about, though, and I think people are kind of sick and tired of it, is Starbucks. Starbucks SBUX. Now 86.99 now. Not Are people going to continue to buy those coffees? Are they lining up? They are kind of, but are they lining up as they used to? And I think the answer is no. I think as we see unemployment ticking up, as we see people losing their jobs, they're not going into the office. They're not buying their Starbucks, taking it in the office as a status symbol in a lot of ways for a lot of people. But right now, yeah, no, I don't think that's the case. So I don't like Starbucks right now. And I'm gonna look at another one for you guys. Let's look at Ticker T. Ticker T. I'm gonna pull up some charts if I can. See if I can get one up for you here. There you go. Yeah, they're still talking about the bromance going on TV. There we go. I'm going to present my screen. Share. Now, I know that my screens are a little crazy right now, but you can see what I'm looking at. I'm going to pull up a 1-hour chart on AT&T. Why am I asking about AT&T? Because usually in September-ish time, maybe I'll pull up a daily chart to get a better view of it here. September-ish time, that's when you start to see the new phones, right? The new Apple phones and the new Google phones. And they're in a trading range. And you can see that this is the Elliott wave or the third wave going up. We could push out of this band here. And a lot of people, you can see it straight up. Look at that. Since September of last year, when it was under around 15, now we're at $27, $28 a share. So that's still pushing up. Another one that I'm really keeping my eye on this morning, if we are looking at a GameStop GME, you notice that in the last few, and I'll pull up a weekly chart on that, you know that they talked about it from the perspective of, I'll remove the, there you go. Pull out the remove it too as well. There you go. So we can get the better indicators there for you. You can see here where we're drawing a line here. Boom. And I'm going to pull up there you go. GANFAN. Look at that. Now, when I tell you people that charts don't matter, it's not true at all. It means that charts don't matter when there are tweets. Charts really matter when there's literally nothing going on around it, right? And you can see right here, this chart is almost perfect. Look at those lines. So if you're using an Andrews Pitchfork or some GANFANs on top of it, it's working very well for you today, right? And if I take that and I'm going to overload, there's AMD. I'll do the same thing. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I think people are talking about it, that they and that's how you do it, by the way. And I can pull it. Isn't that crazy? That's exactly how it works, right? There it is for you. Don't pull it. I'm going to get it all the way out for you. I'm sorry, I missed that. Dude, look at that. Right on the lines. Right on the lines. Right in the middle. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Right? And I make sure that line's correct. There it is. Isn't that crazy? That's what the markets are looking at too as well, right? Where is AMD going to go? I know there were some people that were buying AMD not too long ago, and I like that idea. But for me, you can see here that these lines work just perfectly. So yeah. And I'm going to pull up another one too. If you can keep your eye on what I'm looking at. McDonald's. We'll do the same thing with McDonald's. We'll show you that pitchfork again. I'll do the same thing. See how the bottoms are right there? So you climb up to the bottoms, and then you lay it right on top. And you'll see it. That's it. So we are at McDonald's is breaking out to the bottom. I'll pull it there just a little bit. And I'm going to pull it back to the tops of this one. And I'm going to pull it all the way back down to the other side. There it is. Look at that. Isn't that wild? And it tells you, you're not the only one looking at charts, right? Higher level charting is where it's at. You can also pull up Fibonacci speed resistance. There you go. And you can see when the market picked up speed, right? At that very bottom, you knew that was the buy opportunity down here. You know that's where it stopped, right? And then you can see when it broke out to the upside, the speed slows down and the volume, and it struggles up here. It wasn't a struggle here, right? Because that was a very strong move to the upside. So that's why I really like this one too. And I think McDonald's should have a pullback as weight loss drugs. So remember, it's not just charting, and it's not just news. It's also about the thesis. And my thesis is weight loss drugs are really affecting them, and you can see the pullback here. And let's go another one here. Let's pull another one up. I know people have been asking me about UNH, so let's do UNH now. We know that from 600 all the way down here that the markets fell, right? This is a weekly chart of UNH. So I'm going to go all the way back. Where it is, kaboom, kaboom, right there it is, right? There's where a lot of the buyers were, and I'm going to pull it all the way back. Okay, so I'm going to have to go back to 2020, right, during COVID, to where we are today. Now, here's where we are. And I'm going to do just a little bit so you guys can see what I'm looking at. I'm going to bring Fibonacci to you. All right. So you can see Fibonacci that we have gotten way out of the lines. This is why I don't disagree with people that are buying UNH right now. And you can see why they're buying it. And you can see why right there is why you're seeing the buyers stepping in and no one's selling in here. I do like the UNH for a longer term play if you like it, and they can get out of their problems, right? This is a good example of that. I'm going to pull this up just a little bit, and I am going to overlay the same thing so that you guys can see it. Now, I'm going to pull it. I'm actually going to do. I'll make it easier for you. Like a lot of people are looking for the how do I play it now, right? Okay, so let's play that. We know where the Fibonacci numbers are, so there they are. They're still holding. See that hold down there? All right, so I'm going to pull it here. And I'm going to start from here, and I'm going to pull it up. And we know that the first pull was right there. See that line right there? That's the first pull in the power struggle there. So now here we are in the second power struggle. So what does this mean? In the third power struggle, we're going to see it up to here, right? So around 330, 340. That's where it should go to next. And then if it breaks that, there's a big gap. So I'm going to remove this so you can see it. And you can see here, there's a huge gap in here, right? So once that gap is broken, we should get back to 377, 378. That's why I like UNH here. So not playing it because of the news or whatever. It's because of that. I'll put another one up here for us. If you're watching me not too long ago, and I'll pull up a 1 hour chart. You can see it. Here we go. And I was on Schwab Network right around here. I think it was on the 23rd or 24th of the month. By the way, if you haven't seen, I'll be on Schwab Network on Thursday of next week. I'll be actually on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. So catch me there. But you can see here. There you go. And I'll draw another line here. There it is. And what we're going to put on there? A pitchfork. Look at this. There is still up space. You can pull it up a little bit for you there. Look at that. It broke out. So that vertical line, which was the bottoms, right? Higher bottoms. So we didn't break the higher bottoms there. And we're about to get into the middle section. So we're about to get into that fan again. And we could run to about 285, 286. Since I spoke on Schwab, we've had a heck of a run from about 230 to about 275. So that's where I like it. I've said this very many times that because people are cruising, it's the summertime, they're going on these trips. They realize that they can't go, international is getting closing down. So that they like the cruising and it's working out for them. So, all right, we have about 10 minutes now. until the open here. Let's look at let's pull up Quasar Markets. Let's pull up our if you haven't had a chance to see it, this is our website. We have a new website coming out, so get ready for that. I'm going to log in, and it's very simple. If you don't have an account, it's very simple to have one at Quasar Markets. You can see here you can log in through Google, LinkedIn, or Facebook. We'll be adding Apple soon. I'm already in here. You can see, there we go. And you can see what I'm looking at. A couple of things that we have here that I've been going to show you this morning before we get going is that we have the ability, we have a module called ratios. Nobody else has this. So nowhere in the world has what I have. We built this ourselves. This is my idea, that you can take ratios of any company. So you can see in this case, I have NVIDIA. If you want, you can probably, we can work with Tesla today. If you want to work with Tesla, yeah, there's Tesla and Tesla stock, and you can see right here the quick ratio. So the quick ratio, we're going to add that right into it's drag and drop. Isn't that crazy? There's the quick ratio on Tesla. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to build out your own ratio. And you can see I built my own ratio here. So if I click in the ratio, and that's current ratio divided by PE ratio, gives me a better ratio. Is the price of Tesla at $295.43? Is that the right price? Is that a good quality price for the stock based on earnings, based on what the stock's doing? And the answer is yes, closer to zero. That's what I built. I built the Quasar Markets ratio, and you can create your own ratios and name it. You're inside the system. Is that worth $15? I think so. We also have in this case, I have Amazon. We have your options modules already in the system. All you got to do is log in. You can see here, we have the home right here, boom. This is so that you can use it on your phone, your Oculus, your Vision Pro, your watch, whatever. These all in here are your apps. These are what you actually use for your apps. You don't even need an app anymore. If you want to, you can look at the news, or you can put it right into your system. You can see in our case, we have it already laid out for you. We can have it Bloomberg styled or your style, like there it is, Bloomberg styled, or you can have Twitter news. There's Twitter news. Look at that. Boom. And this is all the news that's coming on Twitter. You don't even need to have your own Twitter accounts anymore, right? I've already curated that for you too as well. There's Saturn News. Saturn News is like real strong news. There's Synovus right there. Look at that. Gulf of America oil and natural gas production expected to remain stable through 2026. That's strong news. And then what we do is we can have it where you can get the actual news from the actual place. In this case, this came from the EIA as well. Okay. And then I can show you that we have full-blown AI and intelligence, and we have education. So there's also an education module within the system too. You can actually go in here and look for courses. These are my courses that I don't have. I want to be able to do that soon. I also want to show you, we have crypto inside of it, Coinalyze, Bookmap. Look at this, Bookmap's in there too as well. It's coming up. There you go. You can create your own. Look at that speed of Bookmap. And then, of course, you can go back to your widgets that I have too as well. There it is. And you can see I have different screeners. I have screeners up here. There's your full-blown screener. I can make it bigger and smaller too. You can watch TV. You can talk to Fred through the AI. You can ask it questions. I think today we asked about, tell me about, in this case, job numbers. Latest job numbers. Tell me about the latest job numbers. And you're actually asking Fred. So that's the economic database within the government that gives you that answer. So I like that. Yeah. All right. About 6 minutes now until the open. You can see we have Forex. We have StockTwits showing you StockTwits out there. Where you can talk about, hey, you don't know of a country, you don't know who the leader is. We have that in there. We stuffed this thing in here. There's the fundamentals. There's metrics. All the fun things that you like. And you can see here, if I click on the button here to, boom, I can add a widget, and look how many widgets that we have. It is absolutely crazy how much we have in this thing. You can go in here, you can go into like sports or sports data, there's weather data, there's government data, government loan data, news. So it's not just a few things, it's over 300 things that are in this system. So definitely get your account. It's a free sign up. You'll have a little bit of ads. $15 a month, gets rid of the ads, goes right into the system. Love it. All right, I'm going to stop my sharing here. get right back to it. I'm probably going to pull up a chart here too for you so you can see it. There we go. We'll go right back to the charting again. There we go. Boom. Sure. And you can see I'm going to go right back to another one that we're looking at. All right, news today. Yesterday, Nintendo brought out their new one, their new machine, and it looks to me, I'm going to do something a little bit different that you're not used to. There you go. Boom. And this is the pressure. So you can see that I'm adding both Fibonacci and I've added fan and I've added pressure to it. So 8 to 1, 4 to 1, 3 to 1. This is when you should be putting on some positions, right? Because you're going from the low. What position would you be on? And what in this case it's telling you, how much is your risk should be on. And in this case, not as much, but down here 3 to 1 because you see some balancing here. There you see 4 to 1. See it? Boom, boom, boom. And 8 to 1 here. It's some heavy, but we're already past that, right? So now here we are. All right, we got about 4 minutes down to the open. There's your answers, right? 1 to 1. Why? Because that's where the top is. All right. Look at Newsmax here. Pull that out in two for you. Look at Newsmax. It's had a rough, there we go, rough going of it. They're still selling here. I think it's based on some of these Trump tweets. They're really, insiders are selling. Now, this is where the market opened, right? On their, pull it up for you. And where it went to now. There we go. There we go. So you can see right where the middle part was, where the selling started. We are almost getting into that section. And I'll start it from here because that's where we are, right? Risk-reward ratio. And there you go. Risk-reward ratio right now, if you're looking to buy Newsmax, is right around 0.55. So that means that right now the risk to reward is pretty high if you're looking to buy based on the past. Now, because the markets were so out of whack with that buying way up there, and I feel bad for anybody who bought the stock at 240, but somebody did. Now your risk reward changes a little bit to 3.57. So if you feel like that somebody at the top was wrong, which I do, and majority weren't there, your risk reward here is 3.57. So they're saying to go long here based on that. All right, we've got about 2 minutes. Let's get to it. I'm going to stop my, let's see here. What I'm going to pull up here is the NASDAQ. There we go. And I'm going to pull up a 1 second chart so we can get a good idea of what's going on here. And I am going to add, here we go, 1 second charts. And I think I'd like to, if you indulge me, I think I'll pull up Tesla 298.80. We're almost about to start here. I'm going to leave the Tesla chart up for everybody. We're up about 5% so far. So I will leave this chart up as we go through the day. This morning charting 101, but I gave you guys a much better charting experience this morning because I wanted to expand your horizons on Fibonacci and how we use arcs. And this isn't about Bollinger Bands, right? I mean, we can do all of that. I've got all those things, right? And I can change all those different styles as well. I'm going to pull it up for you here. I can pull up the different types of charts, the day charts, all of that if you want. There's my templates. I don't keep templates on this chart for everybody, but I can show you my candles. And I use Heikin Ashi as well. But for edification purposes, we'll just go with regular bars as well. And there we go. And I'm going to go with the 1 second chart just as we go along so that God, my charts are everywhere. I got charts everywhere on my screens. Sorry about that. There you go. And we are now open, and there's some selling happening right now because I think there's some buyers that were in there. They're dumping again. Let's let them dump a little bit. I'm not too concerned about it. They're going to go right back up, I think. A lot of those buyers that were yesterday selling, and I think some of the shorts are going to be covering this morning that are also in there too as well. So this is options now that it's moving. So I'm not too concerned about it right now. I think we go back above 300 here pretty soon. Yeah, there we go. Let's keep our eye on Tesla. I think we're clearing out those options. We're getting cleared out on both sides, and I think the shorts are clearing out. I think the calls are clearing out. It's traveling pretty fast though, there we go. And that's it. We get a break above the 300 handle here. I think we go right on up. There's 299 and 299. We're pushing here. So if you're keeping your eye on Tesla, I do think we break above here. 299 is where it's been. Now you can see here that we've created a little bit of a top here. So we got to break through that. 299. There you go. Right on through. Like I said, right to 300. I think we continue to go up. Now, because we're out of that, I want to pull up the 1 minute chart. We're breaking out of that now. There we go. For those of you who followed me yesterday, congratulations. You're happy campers today. So, yep. It's 301.50 now. 301.86 now. 302.50 now. As the buyers have now stepped in. 302.22. No selling so far yet. Now there might be because right here, but this is where we're at right now. Let's see where we go. Okay, a little bit of selling here on the 302s. Back to 300.
Got it. Men 300.
Oh, let Google stop.
By Rashan Rogi.
I have a very animated and a very technological office here. Everything going on here. 298.14. So let's see where we go, where we end up here. I'll go back to that 1 second now that we kind of figure out where we're at now. You can see we've created kind of an area now. I don't like these sellers here. I think the sellers are wrong because, quite frankly, they've been wrong a lot. Yesterday they overstepped their boundaries a little bit, and here we are. So let's see. The days range not quite there. You can see the days range 25.82, which I don't think we'll get back to. I think we'll push up, but I may be wrong. But if you're in it yesterday, you're a happy camper. Hello, Bubba. Let's see if I can do that today. Stop sharing. Let's see if you guys can all see. Hey, come here, bub. Come here. Say hi. When people ask me about trading, I always tell them the same thing. Make sure that you have a puppy dog. Make sure you have somebody. And there you go. Say hello. Say hello. This is Bailey, everybody. Yeah. Say hello, Bailey. Hello. Yeah. Bailey is what keeps me calm during my trading times. Yeah, right? Right, Bubba? Right? All right, gotta go. All right. And that doesn't happen very often on the air, by the way. And I think the shorts are trying to sell here a little bit. I want to do it again. We'll present the share. I'll share my screen a bit. Let's see if we can hold here. All right, now we're gonna push again. There we go, 298 again. See if we can push back up if we can. I think the shorts covered a little bit this morning. I think the buyers are stepping back in a little bit, but this is kind of where it's at, or it's holding a little bit. Still up 4.62% on the day. I'd like to see it push above that 302 handle again, where it went back down. There we go, 299, 260 again. There you go. 299.71. I wasn't nervous about it. I thought that's where it's going to be. I'm liking this a lot again. I think if the president and Elon can get along today and they can put back in the bill, put back the EV section that got, well, it kind of what pissed them both off, right? That they make up with each other, and I think things can go back to normal, right? It's quiet. It's kind of unusual for Tesla, right? The fight is real here. There we go, 299. Let's get back up there. Get back to 300 there, and I think we go. So you can see we're getting into a range. So we're going to break out one way or the other here. This is where we got to figure it out. So you can see here the lines. All right. So here we go. It's got to break out a little bit. If it breaks out there, see, if it can't break out, it breaks to the downside or breaks up. You can see where that was right there. Let's see if we can break out. Remember, this is a 1 second chart, so I don't normally recommend anybody trading on 1 second charts, but the speed of Tesla is very fast this morning. So we've got to keep our eyes a little tighter on it this morning, because I think we break up to the upside here a little bit. But again, remember, charts don't mean anything if Trump tweets and Musk tweets this morning and things change, right? We gotta keep our eye on that. And it seems to be a lot of nervousness in the markets here, right here. So we are focused on Tesla this morning because of the news and because of the trading and because of what's going on. Here we are in the day's range. Now we need to break above that midday range. And when we do, it should push right back on up. There's 298.76. It's getting nervousness, a little bit of nervousness there, but I don't think so. I think this is good. I think this is going to shake out some of those shorts that are nervous. There you go, 299. There you go. There's the break. Now break to the upside now. Now we got to break the 300 handle here. Why? Because that's where it was before, right there, right? Right, still not quite there yet. So you can see you're trying to push up. You can see the break. And if you can't, hit me up. Ask me questions. I'll help you out. This is why I'm here. I've been doing this for 34 years. 299 to 7 again. $299.40. There's the breakup now. $299.92. Get above 300 here. And it should push on up. So you see where it's going now to 310. So we got to break 310. That's the previous there. See, that's when it can't do it because people get nervous and your silly algos are all playing around. But people are missing out on the upside of this. I think there's some serious upside here. Again, look at that. We got to break that 300.10, right? That's where the last number was. So breaking there, getting close. Here we go. Dow now up 500 points here. There's 315. We broke above the 310 now, and now we got to push up to the next level, which should go all the way to, you can see here again, doing it again. Can't do it, breaking up, but I think we do it now. You can see the bouncing off that line again, right? So now you know where the number is. There's 300 now. Really struggling at the 300 handle. And I think the reason that is because of the $300 calls and puts down there. See that line right there? We're seeing it. We're going to expand it. When it couldn't break it, it went down to the downside, right? That's what happened, right? So They're going to try it again. They're very nervous here, it looks like. So I'm going to take this line now, and I'm going to expand it out. This line, I'm going to lay it on top. And then I'm going to lay the other line so you can see how we're doing. Now, what we learned from this morning, right? I'm going to do the same thing here. We'll do it this way. It's much easier. All right, there's your lines. Hopefully you're learning now. So this isn't Bollinger Bands, guys. This isn't just some MACD lines. These are stronger lines, much better what Wall Street uses. Now we're at 524 points now in the Dow. So I think we do push on up. I think the markets are telling you that. There you go. Still struggling, but the next level here is 352. So it should go, if we can break above this line right here, we should pop to the upside. And it's struggling at 300. Why? Because of the options are there at 300. A lot of $300 puts and calls fighting back and forth. The algos are going nuts this morning, which is silly because they're zero DTEs, and most people are losing money, as you all know. I'm sorry to hear that, but it is what it is. Look at this. Look at this. Let's get that break to the upside here. Lululemon down about 18% this morning. Rough morning for Lululemon here. LU. Still fighting over that 300. Why? We all told you, right? Because it's where the $300 calls and puts are, right? That's where the fight is. Now, let's pull it to a 1 minute chart. And there you go. You notice how I laid that chart out? Look at that. It's already laid out there for you. So you can see where the markets are at and try to fight that 300 handle. I couldn't do it, but I think we go right back up to it. I think we could. Yeah, there's the new bar. Let's see if we can do it and push it now. Sometimes you got to stretch those charts out every time they move, right? There you go. And it's fighting over that green line. It's fighting over the 0.5%. So let's see if we can. It needs to go, right? So we've now bounced off these lines 3 times now. So now it should test the top. The $300 calls and puts are strong right now. All right, another bar coming in now. Now, this little candle here is called a spinning top. And there we go. This tells you there's no direction right now, which we know that. But it usually is a reversal position. So right now, this is telling me that we are going to go back to the upside. And these here, that's a big doji candle. So let's see where we go. Okay, it's going to drop now. It's still about the options. It's not about the charts, by the way. So it's still about the options. But let's see if we can't push to 299, back to 300. Another candle coming in, another try. See, they tried that bottom line there. Let's see if we can't do it. 299.40. We're going to that number right there. About to 300, looks like. Trying to get back up there. But again, $300 is where the calls and puts are. Still tight. It's very tight this morning. All right, another bar coming in. So this should consolidate. We're seeing a much bigger consolidation in here. I'll pull up the 1 second chart again. We are consolidating here. There you go. A little bit tighter there for you so you can see what's going on. See if we can break out now. Still fighting over that midsection of the day's range. That's where they're fighting. Right. Brown Foreman yesterday, as you know, we talked about it from. I'm gonna turn these off now since we got about 13 minutes now. We're pretty much in a little bit of a range, and I think there's going to be a little bit of a slippage here in Tesla. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my sharing here and get back to the normal. There we go. Right now, I definitely think that I'm going to pull up my other chart so I can keep my eye on these two as well now. There we go. And we heard it yesterday. Light sweet crude now pushing up here, 64.36 now a barrel. And I'm going to keep my other screens going so I can see everything else. Pop there now in Bitcoin again, back over the 104.3 handle. I know that saw a nice big run up there to almost 104.8, getting up there. So yeah, keeping our eye here now on the 10-year now 4.474%. So they're raising the rates again to attract people to come into the markets, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think you're seeing a little bit of a pullback in the broader markets here, the S&P, as maybe the tops have been hit a little bit, but holding up. Tesla's holding up there a little bit. 297.30 still holding up. 297.16 now. $298 back again. 298.12. Keeping our eye now also on the VXX now at 51.30. Need a break below the 50 handle there in order to see some serious movement here. Another push to the upside. Gold still dropping here, 33.47. Silver holding up. That gold silver ratio 92.50, 92.58 now. Still pushing a little bit on Tesla, 297.74 now. Looking at Verizon up 1.06%. We talked about AT&T this morning, right? Those numbers. And Bitcoin trying again, 104.6 now. Could have another run here. Nasdaq still now the highs of the day now. Q's on the highs of the day. And Tesla slipping now as it couldn't hit that 300. So now the sellers are kind of stepping in. But I don't think that that's going to be the case here. I think those shorts are going to get crushed again as buyers are still stepping in. Calls are still moving in. But the shorts are trying to punish Elon, and probably rightfully so. Both of them is silly spats. But I don't think that's going to be the case today. Going into the close today, I think we'll see a higher than the highs of the day today. To be honest with you. And Bitcoin slipping a little bit at the top up there. So some profit taking. Gold silver ratio still pushing down 92.47 as silver's still pushing here. And gosh, my goodness, 35.19 still. Hey, appreciate everybody out there. Right now, we're doing great. Well, got 1,000 viewers. Can you compare with Google? I keep seeing more Waymo vehicles. Bailey can go to vet by himself in a couple of months. I see a lot of benefit for the autonomous driving. You're absolutely right, Paul. I've talked about that this morning, right? That I really like autonomous driving. I think between Tesla and Waymo, I like both sides. I think Waymo has a better chance of getting better contracts. So I really do like that, Paul. I agree with that, man. So thanks. Just saw your comment there. I'll post that up here for everybody to see. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And I do like the Google side of that. And I like Google is getting away from, while they're still doing searches, I think this is a much better place for them, right, is autonomous driving, because Google can be in your car, right, Google CarPlay. So I do like this move on Google, and I am seeing a lot more Waymo cars myself on the street. I saw a lot of them in Vegas last week. And I think you're totally right. And that's my new theme is robotics. So I think robotics and autonomous driving is the future. And that's what we invest in. We don't invest in the past. We invest in the future. Yep, I agree with that, Paul. Anybody else got anything? Lots of you out there. I see the numbers out there. Wow. Thank you so much. If you don't, retweet this out there, get it out there. You saw a little bit of Quasar Markets today. Sign up. Go to quasarmarkets.com. Sign up. Free account. Then you can, if you want to pay the $15 and get rid of all the ads, which is really good. You can have it in your phone. You don't even need an app. You just go to quasarmarkets.com on your phone, and boom, it installs it right into your phone. It's awesome stuff going on. Not liking the selling a little bit in Tesla here. I think the sellers are trying to push it down again, but I think they're being silly, to be honest with you. Gold silver ratio still dropping here a little bit, 92.47. So I have had my eye on that for a while now. Dollar dropping a little bit, 99.17. It tried to get that 99.40 there, couldn't quite get up there. I think we'll turn on the MACD here in a little bit here on Tesla. If you're not looking at the 1 minute chart, I would highly suggest adding MACD to your chart on the 1 minute, because I think that they're going to turn it. And when they do, I think they're going to burn those shorts. And I'm usually right. Yeah, guess what? There it is. CNBC now talking about McDonald's. We talked about that this morning. And talking about the company's domestic comp growth profile will not rebound as much as expected. We told you that. I mean, this is not, I don't need the CEO. I don't need Kramer telling me that. I did my own homework, right? And that's what I expect most people to do, is do their own homework, and you'll learn a lot more about the company. Damn, I don't like this selling here in Tesla here. It should turn here in a second with the MACD. And then the 104.2 now on Bitcoin. So a little bit of profit taking everywhere. I totally understand that. This morning, the markets are slow. I guess we're all waiting to see what Trump and Elon and Xi Jinping all are saying today. So I think that's what we're waiting on today a little bit. And of course, it's Friday, so be a lot of put burning today if those puts are still on Tesla 0 DTE. So we'll see if I'm right. All right, we got about 3 minutes now until the top of the hour, and I appreciate everybody. Wow, big numbers today. Tuning in today, I like that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, or haven't yet, we have a newsletter as well. Subscribe to the newsletter. Go to the website. You can subscribe to the newsletter as well. Our newsletter is completely AI, so that you get the actual news. No, it's all unfiltered. Right to you. That way we don't put any slant on it or all that nonsense into it. And you know what's actually moving, and not just stocks, options. You can look at futures, and you can look at weather and sports and all of the things around it. So there's a lot in that, and we're building that newsletter out. We'll have a new newsletter coming on Monday or Tuesday, including summaries and including we have a complete new module coming, an FDA module, a complete biotech module. There's companies out there that just do biotech stuff. We've got that already done. We're going to have the complete biotech module in your system next week. So I'm pretty excited about that too as well. All right, we got about a minute here to go. Looks like the turn is just about to start here in Tesla, and it just now turned in Bitcoin a little bit. There's 293 again on Tesla. And then, yeah, we're seeing the Nasdaq turning a little bit too as well. It could be a nice little put burning here now as we get back up to the 300. And I'm going to bring Steve Flanagan in here, and Steve Flanagan can take the show over as I need to move on. And he can, when we're done, I'm going to bring him in now. Steve Flanagan, how are you, bro, man?
I'm doing well, Steve. How are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday it is. Howard's out, as we know, but since this morning. And look, Mr. Spat, mommy and daddy are fighting. Talk to me about Elon and Donald. Steve, can you hear me? Looks like Steve Flanagan is frozen.
Yes, I can. Yep.
Yeah, okay, good. Mommy and daddy are fighting. Tell me about Donald and Elon Musk this morning. What's going on? The world seems to be tuned into it.
Yeah. Amazing, right? I mean, the first thing I want to say is, 81st anniversary of D-Day today, and a great moment looking back at my father given so much of his life and time for that. But anyway, yeah, Elon Musk and Trump, but such a sideshow. I'm just not even going to pay attention to it. You know why? It's, they're going to make up. It's going to. I'm focused on the issues here, and the issues are more important to us. We had, quite a few things out. ECB cut rates 2%. Now they're all suddenly saying, "Oh, Lagarde was actually hawkish." Okay, come on, let's simmer down. Inflation is like crumbling in Europe. They've significantly lowered their inflation forecast, now set at 1.6%. Steve, you and I have been going back and forth on this stuff. What the heck? Now they're saying inflation's going to crumble to 1.6%. Where were these models that was longer for higher for longer? Where are all these? They're so inaccurate.
We talked about it, but you got to give Christine Lagarde a little bit of right, because she's usually, and I've been saying this to you, that usually in honest days takes the lead. But it looks like Christine Lagarde's like, screw you, I'm taking the lead. I know where the markets are going. I know what's going on, and I'm going to go, and I see the problem. So I'm going to take the lead on this.
That's right. But, Eurozone, yes, Steve, I do give her credit for switching gears and dropping. And there were a few members of the ECB policymakers that actually rejected and did not want to lower rates. So I'm going to say the hawkish slant was probably her reaching out to them and bringing them into the fold. But the fact is, Eurozone PPI came out minus 2.2%. And that's after being in March down minus 1.7%. The surge we saw before the April tariffs is already coming off. German industrial production was minus 1.4%, and France was minus 1.4%, and those are in April. So what I'm basically saying, I see a slight change in the ECB, that they're going to hold neutral at 2%. What does that mean? If the economy keeps crumbling, they'll keep lowering. But if the official stance is that they're at neutral, then all the money that's poured into Europe is suddenly going, okay, now what?
Right.
And so let me get right out in front and do my forecast. Dollar's at the low today. Next week, dollar goes up. And that's my forecast right now. I'm at my point. I said June. I'm gone through the first week of June. And I think everything is about ready to turn. The markets are not positioned correctly. The markets are positioned overweight Europe, underweight US. And I think that turn is going to start to happen.
But what do you say to the people who say the spats aren't over? What do you say to the people that say the tariff tantrums aren't over yet? And there's no clarity in the markets.
There is no clarity in the market, but if you're going to be an investor and you're going to be a trader, you better be able to look outside over the horizon. You got to pick your head up outside of the forest and look above the trees so you can always stay focused on where the horizon is and where we're going. The trade talks between China, you got both delegations coming to each country. That's a huge positive. You had the German chancellor meet yesterday, although it was overshadowed by Trump and Musk, but that was a big positive because Germany is going to be spending a lot of money on defense and infrastructure.
Yeah. But if they're spending money on defense and infrastructure, there's a reason, right? Because they fear Russia. They fear a war. Poland's upping their numbers and for defense. They're nervous about a war, right, with Russia?
Absolutely. And that's the one thing out there that I've got to hold out, the geopolitics in Russia, Ukraine, with sitting down at the peace table, but constantly bombing. It's we've got to see a lull in that because that is a major threat. But if that's a major threat, that's a major threat in the arena of Europe.
Yeah.
So, again, that's another behind my dollar thing here. Keep in mind, there's another thing out there. India cut rates third time in a row. They're now down to 6.25. So stimulus, around the world is continuing to happen as inflation is cratering.
Right.
So the Fed is just so out of step here, in constantly looking at inflation, that they're going to, I believe the Fed will cut. Next week is a pause. The following week, we've got we've got the Fed, we've got Bank of England, and we've got Swiss National Bank. And I think you could see cuts all around through all three of them.
All of them?
Yeah, I believe so, Steve. I do think the Fed has got to react to what's going on here.
So do you think our Fed cuts in the next meeting? Is that right?
Yes, that's my forecast. Yes.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Flanagan calling for a cut. I actually agree with you, Steve. I think that I think that Powell is. I think he's tired of the name calling, right? I think he's tired of being called names. I think he says he's not political, but the position's political. You can't get it without being political.
That's right.
He knows that he's under a lot of pressure. Yes, he's insulated because it is the Fed. But I think you're absolutely 100% correct, Steve. I think we cut, but I think the problem is now we're cutting for the wrong reasons and not cutting to spur economy, but that because unemployment is kicking up, because inflation is coming down and people are not spending. You heard from McDonald's this morning saying that they're hurt by the numbers too as well, right?
Right. And Steve, absolutely. And I think in the overall, you're right about the wrong reasons. And that underscores one of my big themes. Volatility is yet again ready to pick up. Why? Because you've got, on one hand, the ECB policymaker Centeno coming out today saying that the tariffs are actually deflationary and having a deflationary effect. Well, okay. Well, Fed, you're on the other side of that coin.
Yeah, I'm going to say something's not right there.
So here we go, yet another, split fracture in the global interest rate scenarios, where one guy saying deflation, the other guy saying inflation. On top of that, what's going behind my dollar index view, 99.15 right now. Still, we got to get over last week's close of 99.44 before this is going to start kicking in. But keep in mind that the Dutch in the Netherlands, the government just collapsed as the right leader, Geert Wilders' Party for Freedom, has pulled all the support for the ruling coalition. Okay, NATO's meeting in, I think, a month or two, and guess what? They're meeting in the Netherlands. So you've got the hub, one of the hubs of Europe. While people may not think the Netherlands is so big, it is.
The Hague. Yeah.
And suddenly you've got an actual fractured government, and they could be, they'll have an appointed person running. So Europe is what I think they've had a nice little bounce. That may be as a result of the anticipation into April. But now I think you're going to start seeing the numbers begin to crater throughout Europe. And that's going to be really the anchor of where my dollar index is coming. I think Europe is going one way and the United States is going the other way. And that will be the core of why. Next week, no interest rate decisions next week. So, get ready for some volatility to pick up. I think the currency markets are hot. And I think you want to watch, if you give a level, two levels. One, look at the Dixie, 99.44. Look at the euro dollar, 113.46. Probably right now we're sitting at 114. So you've seen the euro bounce back a bit here. Premise of why is because money moves first. And the two safe haven currencies, the yen closed last week at 144.04, and today we're at 144.88. So the dollar is already started against the yen, and the Swiss franc, the other safe haven, 82.46 last week's close, 82.28. The yen and the Swiss are already showing me that money's going out of safe havens and beginning to come back. Where is it going to go? With the dollar down in the dirt here and U.S. markets beginning to float. Steve, you pointed a number of stocks today, looking at breakouts to the top side here on those charts. I watched your short on all those charts. You could be in the double bang that I always look for. Take a ride in the currency market and get an equity market move too.
So you're positive the Dixie and you're positive the stock market. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Boom. Steve Flanagan, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. And we'll see you right back. You have a great Friday, brother, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week, Steve.